In this lesson, you will solve equations with variables on both sides. Okay, so the first one, we need to get the variables all on one side of the equation. So in order to do that, I'm going to draw a line down the center. So the first thing that I would do is I want to subtract 4x from this side, which means I have to do the same over here. Okay, so now my x's are gone from the right-hand side, and on the left hand, I have 3x minus 4x, so I have negative 1x. I'm going to bring down the 2, which is equal to negative 1. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the 2, so I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. 2 minus 2 is 0, and I'm left with negative 1x is equal. Negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. If I divide both sides by negative 1, I have x is equal to 3. Okay, I'm just going to move this one over slightly so we can see it. All right, let's do the we do together. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3y to both sides. Okay, so that cancels out 3y over here, and now I'm just left with 2. On this side I have 8y plus 3y, so I have 11y minus 9. Okay? Make sure that you're lining up your y's. The next thing I want to do to get y alone is to add 9 to both sides. So I'm doing the opposite. Minus 9 plus 9 is 0. I want to make sure this becomes 0. So 11y is equal to 11. Okay? So 11 times y, we want to do the opposite and divide by 11. So 11 divided by 11 is 1, which is what we want. So y is equal to 1. Okay, so pause the video for a moment and try the you do on your own. Okay, so there's a couple different ways that you can do these, but the first thing I want to do is get the x's all on one side. Okay, so this would become 0, and I'm left with negative 1 here. If I bring these down, 3 minus 4 is negative 1 plus 2. Notice that I lined up my negative 4x over here underneath the x. Okay, so to get x by itself, I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides to make this 0. And I'm left with negative 1x on this side. And over here I have negative 1 minus 2, which is negative 3. Divide by negative 1 on both sides. And I have x is equal to 3. Okay, so now we're going to solve using grouping symbols. Okay, so we need to distribute whenever we see a number on the outside next to parentheses. Okay, so what this means is 4 times 2r. Okay, so 4 times 2 is 8, so I have 8r. I can bring down the minus sign, and 4 times 8 is 32. Okay, I no longer need the parenthesis because I already distributed. Okay, here now I have 1/7 times 49r. Okay, I'm just going to write this out to see how I got this. So 1/7 times 49r plus 1/7 times 70. Okay, so whenever we're multiplying and we have fractions, 49 is the same as 49 over 1, and 70 is the same as 70 over 1. Okay, so now I'm just going to multiply across. 1 times 49 is 49, and 7 times 1 is 7. Okay, and don't forget the r. So now I know that 49 divided by 7 is 7. So this becomes 7r here. I'm going to bring down the plus sign. Here I'm going to multiply across as well. 1 times 70 is 70, and 7 times 1 is 7. Okay, so 70 divided by 7 is going to give you 10. Okay, so I'm going to bring down the left-hand side so it's equal. Okay, so now that I've distributed, now I can bring all of my variables to one side. So I'm going to subtract 7r to bring all the variables to the left. Okay, 7r minus 7r becomes 0, and I'm left with 10 here. And 8r minus 7r is 1r, okay? And I'm going to bring down the 32. Okay, I'm just going to move this up a bit. Okay, so from here, I'm going to draw the line down the center. I'm going to add 32 to both sides, because minus 32 plus 32 is 0. And I have 1r is equal to 42. Okay, just remember that you can write it as 1r equals 42 or just r equals 42. It's the same thing. Okay? Okay, please pause the video and try this one on your own. Okay, so what you should have done is distributed the 4 times 2a, which would give you 8a. Bring down your minus sign. And 4 times 1 is 4. Over here, we want to distribute negative 10 to the a, so negative 10a. Bring down, actually in this case we have negative 10 times negative 5, which would give us a positive 50. Okay? So from here, the next step is to get all the variables on one side. So I'm going to add 10a to bring everything over to the left. Okay, over here, minus 10a plus 10a is 0. And I just have 50 left on the right-hand side. And over here I have 8a plus 10a, so I have 18a minus 4. Okay, next step to get a alone, I have minus 4, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Okay, this becomes 0, and I have 18a equals 54. Okay, the final step, I have 18 times a, so I want to divide by 18 on both sides. And 54 divided by 18 is 3. So now I have a equals 3. Okay, so pause the video for a moment and please try these. Okay, let's see how you did. So in the first one, you should have first got all of your variables to one side. Okay, so 2x minus 2x became 0, and this would be negative 3 left over. 4x minus 2x, 2x, and bring down the 1. Okay, so again, to get x by itself, I have 1, so I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. Okay, so each step is getting closer and closer to x alone. This becomes 0, and I have 2x equals negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. And then I'm going to do the opposite of multiply here. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. 2 divided by 2 is going to give me the 1x, which is equal. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Okay, and the next one. Here I see that I need to distribute first with the parentheses. So 8 times x, 8x. And 8 times 4 is positive 32, so plus 32. Okay, over here I'm just going to bring everything down because I don't need to distribute here. Okay, so first things, I'm going to get my x's all on one side. Okay, so here I have 6x plus 32 equals 12 because 2x minus 2x is 0. Next step, subtract 32 from both sides. Here this gives me 0, 32 minus 32. And over here I have 6x left over, which is equal to 12 minus 32. It's going to give me negative 20. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 6. Okay, so here you're actually going to get a decimal as your answer. Okay, so you can leave your answer as a fraction in simplest form. So we know that we could divide. So here we have x, and over here we could simplify 20 over 6. If we divide them both by 2, we have negative 10 over 3. Okay, so you can leave your answer like that. Or you may find out what the decimal is. So let's go ahead and do that. So 6 into 20. So I know that here I have 6 times 3 is 18. And I have 2 left over. Okay, so I need to add a decimal here. and a 0, because 20 is the same as 20.0. I bring it down, and I notice that I get 3 again. Subtract 18, and I get 2 again. So I see a pattern that's going to happen if I add another 0. So my answer here could also be 3.3 repeating. Okay? So you have negative 10 and 1, negative 10 over 3, or 3.3 repeating. Okay, so sometimes you might see a problem that has no solution, okay? So here the first one is an example of no solution.